Hello and welcome to the I Am Woman project, where every week we have deep, thought-provoking and interesting conversations with thought leaders, change instigators, rule breakers and creative minds who think differently, sparking creativity and inspiration. Our special guests on our show cover a variety of topics just for you, and they share their personal stories to inspire, motivate and empower you, our listener. The I Am Woman podcast is produced for your enjoyment, and show notes are found at www.catherineplano.com. Come back often and feel free to add the podcast to your favourite RSS feed or iTunes. All links are in the show notes. Now let's get into the show.
Hello and welcome. This is Julianne Black and you're listening to the I Am Woman project, the place where collaboration meets inspiration and possibility. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce you to Maggie Beer today. This will be a fascinating conversation as we deep dive into one of Australia's favourite cooks. Welcome, Maggie.
Thank you, Julianne. Lovely to talk.
Maggie Beer is one of Australia's best-known culinary icons, a respected mentor to many. She is celebrated for her entrepreneurial skills and natural leadership abilities in the gourmet food arena. Maggie's fame has been built on a career that spans farming, food production, exporting, food writing, and television presenting. With an impressive list of achievements, adding an extra string to her bow, in 2014, Maggie established her own foundation, the Maggie Beer Foundation, to create an appetite for life through food for the aged. So Maggie, it's such a delight to have you here today, and I'm really interested to know what drives you and what's the best part of your job.
What drives me? What drives me is firstly produce and living in the Barossa and being a natural cook, not a trained one, is maximising every bit of every plant or animal that I might get my hands on. So it comes from, the inspiration is the produce and the drive is ideas. I have more ideas than I have time in life to pull them through.
What a fantastic combination there.
I'm very lucky. The Barossa has given me so much. If I hadn't have met my husband Colin and come to live in the Barossa, who knows what I would have done? But it wouldn't have been this.
Yeah, I love how life just it gives you the journey that you need most to share your gifts with the world, and that's exactly what it feels like that union has helped you do.
Yes, I must say I'm very aware of my luck.
Well, I'm sure that there's a lot of deserving in there too, Maggie, because one of the things that I loved when I saw you speak recently at an international women's conference was how one of my favorite quotes from you was being pleasure is not just the province of the young.
Yes.
And that you make your masterclasses seductive, and food being such a thing where community comes together. So,
well, that is true. It's more important for those without choice to have pleasure in their day than any other people, and pleasure is for everyone, but particularly when you don't have a lot happening in your day and you need to get your pleasure from something very tangible.
Yes, and so are you specific? Who are you speaking about when you're talking about that?
Well, I'm talking the Maggie Beer Foundation. We started in 2010, but whilst the main focus were people in aged care homes, it also has to flow out to those living alone in the community that aren't cooking for themselves, or a carer is cooking for them. It has to start from the top in terms of the aged care homes, but it has to encompass everyone who needs help.
Yeah. Yeah, and food is something that it delights and entices all the senses as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it brings someone alive. I certainly love it. So, with the benefits of hindsight, what would you have done differently in your life or career?
Oh,
if anything,
hindsight. Oh, I'm I'm not sure, because we didn't have a grand plan and we were just one foot in front of the other, if you like, doing what we believed in. What would we have done differently? Perhaps not chosen quite such a difficult field. And we would have, sooner than we did, brought in expertise we didn't have. Mm-hmm. But we couldn't afford it, so it's this vicious cycle.
Yes, it is. That's the entrepreneurial side of things as well, yeah. Because running a business, especially as you're starting out.
Yeah, but it's been a long, slow burn. You see, we really started in 1979, and in a small way as a farm shop and then a restaurant, and it was only in 1996, which is just on 20 years ago in November, that we started with the export kitchen, where it got a lot bigger quicker. But what I mean by that is it took so long to have a success, mm-hmm. but that never worried me because I was doing what I loved and I was on a journey I loved.
I'm sure that resonates with so many, because it certainly resonates with me. There's no born overnight successes, and I think it's that's a testament to continuing to have that passion and that love for what it is that you do, because it'll get you through when the hard times are there and the food. What is it? The hand to mouth. The hand to mouth living.
Paddock to plate.
Yeah. I love that one. That's great. And so what is the best advice you've ever been given?
Oh, gosh. The best advice I've ever been given, I think it was when I joined a group called Tech, which was a CEO's group, where just 12 people around the table. And I guess the advice was, every business, no matter whether it's a food business or a steel business or a lawyer's business, we all have the same issues, which are about people and communication, and that if you have someone to be able to talk through those issues, it helps a great deal.
Yes, absolutely, because then you entice people and enroll them into your vision, and they want to be a part of it.
Well, it's more that you have help of understanding that other people have been through this and they may have a solution to give you. So it's a two-way street, having a group of people around the table like that.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And what is the greatest lesson you've learnt?
Trust yourself. Trust your instinct. That's mine.
I love that. How has that benefited you? What has there been a standout moment?
I guess if it's benefited me at all is that I've not followed anyone else. I trust my own instinct that something is right, and so what we have developed is something that is unique and in the Australian marketplace. Because I'm driven by flavour, not by bottom line. So that is my instinct, and that has paid off, even though it's bloody hard.
And what advice would you give your younger self? I think that's probably a perfect question to follow up with.
Okay, what advice would I give to my younger self? gosh, what advice I would give to my younger self would be confident about being yourself and not following someone else. I think that's the most important thing, and find what you love. Now, I took 20 years to find what I loved, but I found it. So to any younger self, I would say, search for what you love and follow it.
Thank you. I'm sitting in this gorgeous peace state with what it is that you're saying, because there's such tangible reminders. It's just, okay, just go within, listen to your heart, and trust your instinct that it's the right for you. And there's so many people, especially from the entrepreneurial space, that kind of say, if you see all the masses doing something, do the complete opposite. But it takes a lot to actually just to, as you say, trust yourself, to know that you're going to follow the path of your own gifts, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So is there anything that keeps you up at night?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not a worrier in a sense, because I never look at bottom lines. I let my husband do the worrying. He does plenty of that. But what keeps me up at night is my head is full of detail, because detail and I have many arenas within the business that I hold, not so much hold the detail of, but sit on the shoulders of the people that need the detail, and I'm always the one to be checking, if you like.
Yes.
So it's I've always had a good memory. I used to have a very good memory, not as good as it was, and so I tend to have a list everywhere and just keep on adding to it, because what keeps me up is that I've forgotten something, and it was an important something, and I didn't write it down.
Sure. And you've got an inkling that there's something?
Oh, yes, I know. Yeah. I know there's something. I didn't get to write it down, and so it might be a day before it comes back. Sometimes it's a minute, sometimes it's a day. But that there's so much detail in my business. Anything to do with food and manufacturing, and ours is a very complex one, because we have so many different streams to our food. Most people specialize in just one thing. And that's what keeps me up at night.
And who has been your greatest influence?
Who's been my greatest influence? I guess it depends in various ways. In many ways, it was my mother. In that we were small business people, and in my family, but my mother had the most amazing ability to find joy in every day, even through the greatest hardships. And so I think that's been my inspiration, and I've been lucky to have inherited that, and I think that's what keeps me sane.
Yeah, wow. Could you give us an idea as to what that would be? So,
you mean? Well, I'm a positive nature. I'm optimistic, but I'm a trouble. I'm a lateral thinker, so I can find a solution and find a reason why it's not as bad as everyone thinks it is. Right? Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
And that's Mum had that, and whether I inherited it or just took it up because she inspired me, is a moot question. But the thing is, I think that's always been, even when something goes really wrong, I can find a solution mostly, and find why. Okay, well, that wasn't good, but out of that came this, which is good.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that's the joy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the joy, because you bring people along with you like that.
Yes. And it helps people around you start to become possibility focused as well.
Yes,
and
that's
solution
what you always hope for.
Yeah, because you're leading as an example of what's possible then.
Yeah, let's hope. Always.
Doing your best job at doing that. And if you had to pick one word that best describes you, your personal brand, what would that be?
Oh, me or the brand?
Well, you as your own personal brand.
I think flavor. Flavor. Even when I can keep the same flavor in something that's a stovetop pot of 1 kilo or a ton, and I do that because I take no shortcuts. So flavor and uniqueness, and if you talk about me, doggedness. So they're the tenaciousness, perhaps not doggedness. So they're the key words.
Yeah, wow, fantastic. And I love the fact that ties directly into what drives and inspires you is flavor.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So what are three gold nuggets you'd like to give our listeners?
3 golden nuggets is find what you love to do is the most important one. Always benchmark. A lot of people do things, let's say in the food world, they use a recipe and they're proud of it without putting it up against the best that is available to see if they're any good at it. So benchmarking is truly important. And I think lateral thinking, the ability to find solutions, I think lateral thinking is truly important. Thinking outside of the square is what will separate a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree with that, and I feel that lateral thinking could help inspire you to find what it is that you love, because there are a lot of people that get really challenged with like the hunt for what it is that they'd love to do. And I think that if you can continue to think laterally and give yourself a benchmark for what you want to do and what it feels like to do what it is that you love, then that's really powerful.
Well, I agree, but one of the things to think of too is while you're searching for what you want to do, never be frustrated by it. Enjoy the journey along the way, because nothing is wasted. Wherever you are, if you're putting your effort in, you are learning. So in looking for the journey, I agree, lateral thinking, of thinking outside of the square of how you might find that. But in the first case, be enjoying what you're doing, knowing you are learning, and go on to the next step. Just see it as a key to a whole lot of doors until you get to the one you really want to be in.
Oh, Maggie, it feels like you're speaking directly to me. It's great. So what does the future storyline for Maggie Beer look, sound, and feel like in one sentence?
Oh my gosh! Well, it's a combination of my business world and my foundation. And my business world is the driving of new ideas and new products that will continue always. And in my foundation world, it's finding the ways to raise the money to be able to put in programs that are so needed and research. And so it's a very exciting world on both parts. So that's my life.
Mm.
Is that one sentence?
Pardon?
Was that one sentence?
That was perfect. And with the foundation, a lot that strikes me about that is when you talk about making aged care sexy, and that most people want to work better, but they're stuck in isolation.
Yes. I don't know anyone who doesn't want to do better, particularly when they're looking after other people, but they need tools, they need support, they need respect, they need ideas. And that's what we hope to give for those that aren't lucky enough to work in the great places. And there are great places, and they should be our benchmarks.
Yes. Yes. I love it. Thank you. And where can our listeners find you? What roaming around in the Barossa?
Well, yes, yeah. No, my schedule is so huge. When I'm in the Barossa, I'm at the farm shop every day, some time of the day, but never at the same time, because it all depends. The structure of my day is so frenetic from early to very late, and the work on the foundation and some of the business work takes me interstate a lot. But I fly to do what I need to do and come back home as soon as I can. Yeah. So it's I'm like a whirling dervish.
I've got the image. And a smiling, laughing, whirling dervish, because that's one of the things about you as well, is that you emanate joy with everything that you do as well. You've got this big, beautiful smile, and it's infectious in that. So if you're cooking with that passion and that smile and that abundance, then it's any wonder your food and your creations have taken you on such a journey of success and deliciousness, really.
As I said, I'm very lucky. I'm lucky, and the Barossa Colin and the Barossa has been key.
Yes. So your website is...
Yes. Website, there's the maggiebeer.com.au, of course, but then there's maggiebeerfoundation.org.au, which has a lot of information about the work we're doing with the foundation. And I really hope that your listeners will have a look, because it's very exciting times when you can see change happen, even though it's just one step at a time. Change happening and filtering out. It's pretty terrific.
Absolutely, and it's such important work that you're doing with the foundation. It's amazing. I love it. And then yes, so maggiebeerfoundation.org.au. Check that one out, and thank you so much for joining us today. Is there anything else that you'd like to share?
I guess the only thing I'd like to say to add to that is I have a great belief in women's ability at the highest level, and my two senior people, my COO and my sales and marketing managers, are women, and the ability of women who are really are really driven and love what they're doing have so much going for them that I think as women we all should be very proud of what's possible.
Yes. What a beautiful note to end with. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for taking time out of your hectic schedule and just pausing for a moment so you could connect with me and our audience.
Thank you, Julianne. It's been a delight.
All right. This is Julianne Black for the I Am Woman Project. Keep smiling and be brilliant now.
That brings us to the end of another episode. I hope you enjoyed the show, as it is my mission to reach out and inspire as many individuals like you. And one of the best ways to help us achieve this goal is by giving us a good review on iTunes. It's easy and it only takes about 10 seconds. If you have any questions or special guests that you would like to hear from, please send us an email to support@catherineplano.com.au and we will get right back to you. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter or Facebook @Catherine Plano. That's it for now. Thanks for listening. Until next week, please take care.